Okay, we will call the meeting of the Board of Health to order on Monday, August 9th at 6:04 p.m. Could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good to see a full crew here tonight after everybody's had July off. Everybody had vacation, so anybody wondering who's watching the meeting as to why we did not meet in July, July is typically a little bit of a slower month for us, and we had multiple people on vacations. I was in the White Mountains for a few days. Garrett was off with his family. Tina
just got back this morning.
I remember Tina Santos just got back on a 12-hour drive from Oceanside, Maryland to make the meeting. That's dedication. So with that, I can't question that dedication. So I guess I would have had no excuse to not make it tonight if she could make it. Okay, that being said, we are going to address the agenda. Jim, do you have a copy of that health report I gave you? Because apparently mine is downstairs. I let Lionel read it, and now I don't know where it is.
I could grab it. You guys can go on to the
No, you
next
know what?
one. No?
I'm going to wing it by memory.
Okay.
And whatever I miss, they're faulting on me for missing. As of last Thursday, August 5th, I believe, the latest numbers came out from the Mass Department of Public Health regarding where Winchington stands as a community, individual municipality in the county of Worcester County. Our numbers are not good. It should be noted for the record at this time. In 4 weeks, we went from 0.35% 14-day positivity rate recorded and distributed every 7 days by the Mass Department of Public Health, 0.35. We went up fivefold in 1 week to 1.73, an enormous jump for 1 week. Not unheard of, we've seen that many times. But what was troubling is what continued to follow. We went from 0.35 in the first week, and then, as we said, going up fivefold to 1.73 in the second week. We followed the third week after an increase to the 1.73, completely doubling to 3.68. At 3.68, we are formally well into the previous DPH and Governor's yellow target zone map at 368. After that third week, now with the last and fourth week in a row reporting, we just came in at 3.73 from 368, an increase of 0.05%. So it looks like we did a lateral for 1 week. That's not indicative as if we're going to go up the next week. We're going to go down the next week. Nobody knows the way it's going. These things go up and down. We don't know. That being said, we did do a lateral, virtual lateral, with an increase of 0.05 from the last week 3 to week 4 and the last 4 weeks consecutive. At this time, the US CDC has us listed nationally at 72% of our population getting 1 shot of a 2-shot vaccination, and 52% fully vaccinated. So theoretically, within a couple of weeks, that 52, hypothetically, going by the second shot 2-week interim, should go up to 72, theoretically, assuming the people who got the first actually show up for their second, but not guaranteed, as some people are stopping with just their first, which the CDC does not recommend at this time. In Massachusetts, the Commonwealth average is roughly 65% fully vaccinated at this time. Winchington, per the last public health reports, which came in on last Thursday, as they usually upload just after 5 p.m., give or take, on Thursdays, we came in at 45% fully vaccinated, 20% behind Worcester County average, 20% behind the Commonwealth of Massachusetts average. Winchington is not doing good. At this time, I'm going to speak for myself as chair, and I'm not speaking for the Board of Health. I repeat, I'm speaking for myself as chair, not representing the board, my individual self. I'm asking people, even though they don't have to, if they have not yet been vaccinated, to please consider getting vaccinated. Seriously consider it. For yourself, for your loved ones. Yes, we all know people who have lost their lives. And yes, we also know people who are vaccinated could still, in a very low percentage, still get the Delta variant of COVID and even still transmit it once vaccinated. But if you are vaccinated, science proves you're much less likely to die of it, whereas you still may end up transmitting it. So it's not a perfect science, but it's the best thing we have. It's the best step right now. It's the best answer to something where we still hope to get more answers. So at this point, again, as chair of the Board of Health, only for myself and not the board, I am asking people, please consider getting vaccinated for your family and for your community. And that reminds me, somebody else's phone is on. I maybe want to make sure mine is not. No, mine was on silent. Excellent. So, again, we're 20% behind Worcester County. We are 20% behind the state average at 45%. Youth in our town, ages 12 to 15, make up roughly, Jimmy, I want to say around 29% of 12 to 15 is vaccinated, going by the latest demographics. I could be wrong, but I believe it was 12 to 15 was 29%. Even in, no, it's okay, accidents happen. Even in the bracket of 39 to 50, we're still roughly in that bracket at 49% vaccinated in town. So it runs the gamut. It seems the older people are, the more they're choosing to get vaccinated. But also keep in mind, we don't want to put a false label on our youth or their families, because they only just started getting the FDA approval to vaccinate that younger target if parents wish so for their children. So we don't want to give them a false demographic. It's not their fault that number is potentially lower at this time, because it only, again, just recently got approved by the FDA. So we don't want to label people where they don't deserve to be labeled. That would be insensitive. So with that, those are the latest health reports we have updated. The Commonwealth of Mass is closing in on 4.5 million fully vaccinated out of a population of just over 6.9 million residents. So again, Mass, 65%, Commonwealth, Worcester County, 65%, and the United States CDC says the country is 52%, with 72% receiving at least their first dose. It should also be noted in closing that the CDC has now said, we have a winner, that the Delta variant is now as contagious as the chickenpox in the unvaccinated population. So take it for what it's worth. These are not my numbers. These are the Commonwealth's numbers. These are the Fed's numbers. I'm only saying what we have. I can only relay what the information and what the science says. Again, not my numbers, this is the science. So with that, with the chair's update, members, please, any comments, or we can move on to the next item.
I'd like to say 93% of the doctors and their families in this country are vaccinated. So it can't be that bad to get vaccinated.
Doctors?
Doctors, yes. And their families.
Any comments from the audience at this time? Anybody present would like to say anything in the audience?
I would just say if people are considering it, I know you hear a lot of things from a lot of sources. I would just say please, if you want to talk to your family doctor, that's the best way to get advice for you. They know you the best. They're not a politician or a TV personality looking for whatever ratings or whatever. Talk to your family doctor, please, and generally give it consideration, and you know, really give it some thought, because you are also affecting your household members and friends and family and your community in general. And I really wish people would have a good conversation with their doctor about their concerns and deeply consider getting vaccinated.
Thank you. With that, we have an issue that would fall under the chair's update in terms of vaccination and what we're doing to be safe. We received an email today from a concerned resident, citizen taxpayer. This individual reached out to me as chair, or current chair of the Board of Health, in an email several times, expressing concern for our higher than average rates versus towns around us, and for our lower than average vaccination rate. The individual has come to us in good faith as a board, which we want public participation. Lord knows we could see more of it, which would be a wonderful thing and very welcome. I replied to the individual that I would bring their concern before the board tonight. The individual reached out to our board in town with something that covers a very large scope of responsibility. The individual reached out to us in town today via email, wanting to see if the Board of Health, at this time, at 3.73%, wanting to see if the Board of Health would recommend mandating masks in all municipal public buildings in the Commonwealth's town of Winchington. I said I cannot speak for the board. I will be more than happy to bring it to the board, as we want public participation. We need public participation. Whether it's pro or against, we need more public participation, and we're asking for more public participation at this time. The individual again wanted to know if the board would consider making any recommendations for having public mask mandates in all public buildings. Now, please keep in mind, public buildings would include the town hall, fire department, police department, library, public schools. Now, this is a very broad spectrum. This is an enormous responsibility or decision. The weight of it obviously would need discussion from the board and their feelings at this time. I let the person know that this is up to the will and pleasure of the board, as I am just one person, and everybody has a right to their feelings and their opinion on this based on their data and what's available to them. So with that, I would like to open it up at this time for a public discussion.
I'd like to make a recommendation that my personal feeling, that we continue to follow the CDC's rules and regulations as they set forth. I have went into the CDC's website and printed out the most up-to-date things as of today. It states on here that for fully vaccinated people that they can continue to operate as they used to before. And anybody that is not fully vaccinated, including children under 12 who cannot get vaccinated yet, should follow the CDC guidelines and wear a mask in any public place that they do not have access to the outside. As for the school, I feel that the Department of Education, of Childhood Education, should consult their board as they did previously and follow with that and not go upon our recommendation in regards to that aspect as they did in the past.
Thank you. And as a paramedic, I appreciate your medical opinion as you are medically trained. We should note at this time that in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, there was a time pre-vaccination where the majority of the public was wearing masks well into the yellow zone at 3.73, even 3.5 or higher. The governor in the Mass Department of Public Health at that time, once we got up to around this vaccination rate of 65% in the Commonwealth, they, closing in on it, we were at like roughly 50%, is when the governor said, and the Mass Department of Public Health said, they could lift the public mask mandates. Keep in mind, when those mandates were lifted, we were still well into the yellow zone in Winchington, which is why we agreed as a board just to be very cautious, careful, and track it accordingly, which is what we're charged with doing as Board of Health. Would any other members at this time comment?
Mr. Chair, how about if we recommend that the department heads make that decision, but if it can, and leave it open down the road, if it does continue to, if it goes down or continues to go up, then we revisit it.
So in other words, are you saying at this time to leave it up to, by department heads, do you mean the school or the school
The
committee?
school committee.
Because that's important to make that
And the
distinction.
superintendent working together, yes. For the town hall, it'd be the town manager. Police department would be the police chief. DPW director, the Department of Public Works, and the fire department, the fire chief.
Okay, because all public buildings do fall inevitably under the chief executive officer of the town, which obviously is the town manager for all legal purposes. But each department can make a recommendation to the town manager, police, fire, DPW, each department can make their own recommendation to the town manager how they would like permission to run their department as a department head. They do have that right to go to the chief executive officer and make that decision individually at this time.
And leave it be for now.
Uh-huh.
Just keep it open for the Board of Health if we have to intervene later on. It starts to skyrocket, we'll definitely have to do something.
Okay. Tina, anything? Please feel free.
Well, as an unvaccinated member here, I guess I'm gonna have to kind of agree to disagree. I guess I would have to agree with Garrett. I would say, you know, to kind of, I would say that we would need to let the school and the superintendent kind of let their entity and department make their decisions. That's a very big decision,
It is.
especially parents, schools, and so forth. I feel that we should follow the CDC guidelines, the governor and such. I myself is not, I am not vaccinated. I'm wearing a mask this evening. I
And
just
you're
came
doing a
from.
responsible thing, and I would like to say thank you and kudos to you for what you've just done.
Thank you. I was just out of state on vacation, so I am wearing a mask. I'm not vaccinated, but you know, until the vaccine is approved, I don't feel that I would like to subject myself to the vaccine and my children. My husband has, due to his line of work, gotten the vaccine, but I feel that you know, the mandates that are coming down from the government and from various areas, employers and things, it's getting very tricky for some, and you know, some are losing their jobs, some are not able to kind of continue onto their schooling and so forth because either colleges are mandating and so forth. You know, again, this vaccine is not FDA approved. I understand when kids went to school back then, all kids were vaccinated at one point to go back to school. But this is not vaccinated. The vaccine came out fairly quickly. And to me and others that I've spoken to, there are risks. There have been documented risks and concerns, you know, with children and adults, and that concerns me. I'm the one that if something happens, it happens to me. So I guess my concern is, I have had COVID. I did in February. It was very mild symptoms. It was like a sinus infection, so I feel that I do have natural immunity. You know, I do wash my hands. I do use the hand sanitizer each time I go out of the stores and so forth. Any type of buildings, I try to stay my distance and such. I wear my mask whenever possible. You know, I'm respectful to others and such. But I just feel that this mandate coming from above down onto others, I think it's just, this vaccine is, what's good for one is not good for all. I think my body, my choice, and I think that, you know, there are some people that have underlying conditions and such, so, you know, it kind of, I guess it's a tricky, it's a very tricky situation and a tricky topic. So I would hate to be the one, you know, the board pushing mandates on masks or any kind of, I would say that we have followed the government's recommendations so far, and I would say that we continue to do so.
Okay, so far, that's pretty much the sentiment of 3 members of the board. Lionel, would you like to chime in?
I agree with what Garrett and Ed Vaughn and Tina said, and yourself. that if you can get vaccinated, fine, get vaccinated. It's up to your own personal belief.
Absolutely.
But be clear that you have to take steps to protect others, your loved ones, and those around you.
Absolutely.
So do whatever you can to protect yourself and the people
Be
around you in
responsible.
this community.
Like Tina wearing a mask tonight when she just came back from vacation.
Very respectful.
Absolutely very respectful. Like I said, my feelings have been, as my individual self, if you're able to get it, I encourage you to do so. There's no mandate, but I do encourage vaccination, just me humbly. Everybody has to make their decision right now at this time. And again, we did have an individual from our town, citizen, resident, taxpayer, come forward with a request. At this time, the board has made their feelings very clear about not wanting to speak for the school committee or other public buildings at this time. We will obviously continue to track the weekly data from the Mass Department of Public Health and the US CDC, as we have been since the March 2020 shutdown. I can tell you our health agents got a hell of a workout on the computer since March of 2020, and all of us have in many ways in our own professions. Jim, I don't think we need a vote on this right now, do we? Because we're just discussing
No,
it.
it's just a discussion, we can take it under advisement and,
Mhm. Okay. I didn't think it needed a vote, but I wanted to check with you because you're more knowledgeable about that. So with that, right now it is obvious the position of the board is to follow the state and CDC guidance, as Garrett had just pointed out. Garrett, thank you as a paramedic for bringing in that documentation. I think that was very professional of you. Ed, I appreciate you expanding upon your feeling about the school and the school committee and powers that be making their decisions. Lionel and Tina have talked about how it should be a personal choice, up to people, my body, my choice, and they've discussed it. I feel like, yes, your body, your choice, and I'm just, in my humble feelings, I'm just saying I'm looking out for your body, but that's your choice. With that, I want everybody in this board to know you all bring something special. It's why you're all here. And I highly appreciate and respect every member of this board's opinions, their individual experiences, their knowledge, what's in their heart and soul. Everybody in this board is here during this pandemic because you care about your community, you want your community to do good, you want the best for your community, and everybody here tonight, I know it means a lot to me to have you all as members of this board. It really means a lot to me with all my heart. So with that, we have a very important mission. We will continue to monitor it. Obviously, we're not going to go for any kind of regulations as a board, which we are empowered to do unless things modify what the board sentiment is, correct? Unless things modify from what they are at this time. Is that would be the board's feelings?
If they get worse, then we can do something.
If they get worse, if they get worse, we would bring it up for discussion as a good board because we all have equal say. We all have equal say. So with that, we would like the public to know at this time that the board has made their feelings clear, that while they are not willing to mandate it in any public buildings, the board also acknowledges it is up to individual department heads, if they feel they need to do so, to speak to the town manager as an individual department head, if they feel they need to. Again, public buildings would be the town hall, highway department, fire department, police department, public schools, and the public library. Jim, am I missing any?
I think that's about covers it.
Okay, so the discussion was an important one. It needed to be done. Everybody's opinions here are very important to me, everybody. And I always want members of this board, no matter who's in what seat, to be able to feel they can speak up at any time and speak their will. This is what you were elected to be here for by we the people. Yes, Lionel?
One other board we have to think about is the senior center.
True,
Yep.
true. That is a public building, yes.
In the community building up at
Mhm.
Ipswich.
In these public buildings, obviously, again, that director has the right to go to the town manager at any time as the administrator of that facility and say, this is what we feel we need to do. Obviously, it may be counterproductive to see different policies at different buildings, and that is where the town would need further discussion as a town as to if the chief executive officer at that point felt he needed to make a call Keith Hickey's made it in the past, Steve Delaney had to maintain it in the past where it then was phased out when we got rid of the color zone charts as the interim, and now we have a new town manager. So at this time, again, the public should know, the former color-coded colors for a community risk assessment, white, green, yellow, red, they still are not in effect. The governor and the Mass Department of Public Health has not reinstated them at this time. They are not in effect. However, we can refer to them as past best practices to allow us to continue and monitor our current and ever-evolving situation. So with that, is the members of the board, anybody else have any other discussion, or are we good on this?
I think we're pretty well good on this.
Okay, again, thank you all for your input. With that, we have on the agenda to move on to food permits. In the first food permit we have this evening, permit to operate a food establishment, permit number 2141, NDH P Corp, doing business as Mike Mart, 240 Spring Street. These individuals, Jimmy, I think they bought this business several years ago, didn't they? It's like several years ago now?
Yeah, not too many years ago.
It was recent, wasn't it?
3 years.
3 years? I knew it was several, I wasn't sure. So the $100 fee has been paid, and after an inspection, the health agent has 0 notations.
I'll make a motion to approve Mike Mart's permit.
We have a motion made by member Ed Bond. Would anybody like to second? Lionel Cloutier seconds the motion for approving Mike Mart, permit number 2141. With that, we'll do a roll call vote. All in favor, member Garrett Wan.
Aye.
Member Ed Bond.
Aye.
Member Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Member Tina Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next, we have permit number 2140, permit to operate a food establishment for a wonderful organization, temporary food permit, known as Heal Winchington for the Toytown Market. Heal Winchington works to raise money for many various charitable causes. And I did notice that there is no permit requested or paid. James, does this require a motion by somebody to forego it as they're raising money for charity?
To waive the fee, yeah, for charitable purposes.
So-
You
I
include-
make a motion that we waive the fee, and I say we approve it.
Okay.
Second.
So we have member Lionel Cloutier has made a motion on permit 2140, Heal Winchington, to waive the fee, and member Garrett Want made a second to approve it. With that, we shall continue with a roll call vote. Member Garrett Want.
Aye.
Member Ed Bond.
Aye.
Lionel.
Aye.
Ms. Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Heal Winchington was approved, waiving the permit fee because they raise money for charity. Up next, permit number 2139. Permit to operate a food establishment, Williams Package Store, located at 50 Spring Street, better known as the Spring Street Bridge. Jeff, pretty close, right? Again, the fee of $100 has been paid, and the health agent has absolutely 0 notes on his inspection for anything found. With that, do we have a motion to
I'll make a
approve
motion to approve permit number
2139?
2139 Williams Package Store.
A second.
Motion was made by Ed Bond. It was a close call. I'm going to give the second to Tina. I think she beat Lionel by like 3 milliseconds. So made by Ed Bond, motion seconded by member Tina Santos. With that, do we have a motion to approve the permit? We did first and second. We'll do a roll call vote. Member Garrett Want.
Aye.
Member Ed Bond.
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Tina Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Up next, permit to operate a food establishment is permit number 2138. The Sweet Treat Bakery, located at 191 Lakeshore Drive, Winchton. James, I assume this is a home kitchen?
Correct, residential kitchen.
Residential kitchen, thank you for correcting me. The fee of $50 has been paid in full with a check number provided. Jim inspected it, and we have absolutely 0 notes, which is what we really like to see from a residential home kitchen. That's a good thing.
I make a motion to approve it.
Okay, motion's been made by member Lionel Cloutier to
I'll
approve it.
second it.
Seconded by member Edward Bond. With that, we will do a roll call vote. Member Garrett Wine,
Aye.
Ed Bond,
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier,
Aye.
Member Tina Santos,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Next, we have permit to operate a food establishment, permit number 2137. Route 13 LLC Dunkin' Donuts. However, this is for the 93 Gardner Road location, meaning the gas station that is along Route 140. Jim, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to make sure we're representing it properly to the public and the board. There was a fee of $100 that was administered as always. The fee was paid in full. The health agent only had a very minor notation for some additional cleaning, which is very, very common in the business, especially with high foot traffic. And the health agent, assuming, Jim, you obviously, I believe you told me earlier, but for all points of honesty, you went back and it's all set.
It's all set.
Excellent, thank you for your additional checking on that. With that, there are no other notes. Would anybody like to make a motion on approving this?
I'll make a motion to approve the Dunkin' Donuts permit on Route 140, permit number 2137.
Okay, for LLC
Second.
Dunkin' Donuts. Motion was made by Ed Bond and seconded by member Tina Santos. With that, roll call vote to approve. Member Garrett Wine,
Aye.
Edward Bond,
Approve.
Lionel Cloutier,
Yes.
member Tina Santos,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Couldn't understand you there, Lionel.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, I just didn't want to misinterpret you.
Getting a dry throat.
That's all right, I understand. Last food permit we have is food permit number 2136, permit to operate a food establishment, Zoe's Restaurant and Pizzeria, 435 Spring Street, Winchington, across from the bike path parking lot virtually. The fee of $100 has been listed as a health agent, is paid in full. They have provided their certificate of allergen awareness training. They have provided their ServSafe certification. And the health agent had only one note where they went back for a little extra cleaning, it looks like. And I assume, Jim, that was followed up and all set?
And they are all set.
They are all set. Thank you, Mr. Health Agent. With that, now that we know they're all set and paid up,
Make a motion to approve.
Zoe's Restaurant and Pizzeria, permit number 2136. Motion was made to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made by member Lionel Cloutier, seconded by member Garrett Wine. With that, all in favor, member Garrett Wine,
Aye.
member Edward Bond,
Approve.
Lionel Cloutier,
Aye.
Tina Santos,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Next, we have some invoices from the health agent. Now, Jim, I see one here, it says recording secretary.
Yep, we did not get a bill from Deb.
Would that be for the month of July? No, we didn't meet in July,
Not
we
for
met in
July,
June.
for- Yeah, the June meetings.
I thought that was submitted ahead of time for the end of the year.
Yeah, that's
catching up.
possible, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right, so we didn't have a meeting in July.
No, we didn't have a meeting in July, and when we
So-
met in June, Deb
We
did
were
get
all
caught
set.
up with a bill
Correct.
because we needed it for the
End
town
of
account.
fiscal.
And for end of fiscal '21, it was needed for the town
Correct.
account.
Correct.
So that was all set. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we don't have to worry about the recording secretary. And so we do have a bill from the health agent for insect repellent in the amount of $11.50. I would never imagine you would need that outside with 13 inches of rain in June, Jim. Never believe it. So we have a bill for insect repellent for $11.50 from the health agent. And for soil evaluator license, another bill of $105 from the health agent. He has obviously included documentation, including a check for $105 that was paid by the health agent. So we are looking to reimburse the health agent for expenses in the amount of $116.50. With that, are there any questions? No questions?
I'll make
Okay.
a motion we approve.
A motion has been made by member Lionel Cloutier to approve the bill submitted by the health agent. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion was seconded by member Ed Bond, first by Lionel Cloutier. With that, to pay the health agent $116.15 for what was submitted in bills. Roll call vote, member Garrett Wine,
Aye.
member Edward Bond,
Approve.
member Lionel Cloutier,
Aye.
member Tina Santos,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. You're paid, Joe. You're rich again. Okay, last on the agenda, we currently have board reorganization. It is that time of year again, as we normally don't meet in July because we go dark with everybody going on vacations. We need to reorganize the board for the positions of chair, vice chair, and clerk. With that, would anybody like to begin any discussion?
I'd like to, go ahead, Ed.
I'd like to make a motion to keep Keith as the chairman of the board.
Okay, a motion has been made to keep Keith Kent as chair of the board. That would require anybody else's input or further discussion.
I'd like to make a motion that the board stays the way it is. At this time, Keith is chair, and myself as vice chair, if the board so desires.
Okay. So we have a motion for me to stay as chair, but then it was followed up with another motion to keep the board as the way it is. That being said, keeping the board the way it is, that would require some discussion, so that would open it up for any members' input.
I don't know, I think, Garrett, how do you feel?
I always like to see a board reorganization, more of a, it gives others the opportunity to kind of sit in different spots, learn different things, kind of get a feeler. You know, so I'm all for going for a reorganization, and if everybody votes to keep members in the same spot per position that we vote in, I think that's the better route to go.
So you're for evolving the board, not keeping it the way it is, correct?
Correct, I'd rather vote one
I don't wanna
position at a
speak
time
for you.
and go, you know, from chair to vice chair to clerk, and let everybody kind of put their vote out for each position instead of just
Sure.
going across, you know, because you might have some people sitting here feeling one way, but then they don't want to speak up because they don't want to upset anybody, and it's just easier to just go one at a time down the line, and, you know, it just keeps everything copacetic.
Okay. So a motion was made by member Lionel Cloutier to keep things as they are. That being said, his motion would then need a legal second to proceed continuing his motion. Is there a second for member Cloutier's motion?
My second, or I feel that, you know, I have only been on the board for only a few months, but I feel that things have been going fairly smooth, so, but I mean, I guess, I don't know how the organization has been in the past in regards to chairman. I know Lionel has been chair, but I don't know exactly on other members and such, but, you know, if there's others that would like to have another, you know, a chance, then we could open it up, but I guess I would be in agreement to keep it as is if others are willing to do so.
All right, so Ed, what are your feelings again?
I think the younger fellows should get the chance, like Tina or Garrett, as a different spot on the board. I mean, Lila's been chair, vice chair, I've just been a member.
Yeah.
But I like to see people get a chance to have a position on the board.
To get their feet wet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can-
Yep, you're allowed to speak, go ahead.
I would like to retract my motion and to keep the board as is.
Okay, the motion has been made, discussion, legal discussion was brought up with everybody, and the motion was then retracted. So with that, we do have an original motion made by member Ed Bond. Before the other discussion came up, we had a motion made by member Ed Bond to name Keith Kent as chair. With that, is there a second on that motion?
I'll second that motion.
The motion has been made and seconded. With that, is there any discussion?
I think you're doing a great job, Pete, to tell you the truth.
Thank you.
You're doing a lot of research and all the numbers, got all the numbers there right down.
I appreciate the support. My fellow board members know they can come to me anytime about anything. And I also want to reiterate that every single member of this board, you do not have to feel at any time that you are absolutely bound to go to the chair first. I want our members to have an open door policy, and that you have a legal, lawful right to go to the health agent with any concern you want. It doesn't need my approval or to have to go through me. I am your equal. We are all equals on this board, and I respect you all. Anybody who has a concern, you can go to the health agent, and then if the health agent feels he needs to, he can notify me. If you want to talk to me after you talk to the health agent, I'm cool with that too. Our health agent has many vast years of experience, over 2 decades serving our town. He's quite familiar with Mass General laws. I'm still playing catch up, but I'm trying hard. So with that, please know, at any time, any of you can go to the health agent. As chair, you don't have to go to me first. We're all equals here, and I appreciate you all with all my heart.
I second the motion for Keith to remain as chair.
Okay, a motion was made by Ed Bond to elect me as chair, and the motion was seconded by member Lionel Cloutier.
Actually, I believe Garrett had seconded.
Oh, did he? Am I incorrect? I'm sorry, Gary. I got so confused
That's
between the two
okay,
discussions.
we're
My
kinda-
apologies.
Well, Keith
I just wrote it down, so
No,
I,
no,
there was
because
a couple different discussions, so I apologize.
if my head was full, I wouldn't be paying homage to all of you, because I consider you all vital to this board. So with that,
Two-thirds.
the motion was made by member Garrett Watt and seconded by member Lionel Cloutier. Or was it Eddie?
Motion was made by Ed Bond and seconded by Garrett Watt. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going
And
to
third
change
by
it.
Lionel Cloutier.
So we can make it clear for the recording secretary. So motion was made by Ed Bond to name Keith Kent the chair and seconded by member Garrett Watt. Okay, with that, we shall have a roll call vote. Garrett Watt,
Aye.
Edward Bond,
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier,
Aye.
Tina Santos, and the chair humbly accepts and says thank you and says aye. With that, we now open, thank you. With that, we now, and again, as chair, remember, the health agent's doors are open to any of you at any time. We are all equals here. With that, we will open up the discussion for the position of vice chair. Lionel has given his town good 16 years of service as chair and vice chair, and in between, he's been on the board a long time and given our town an absolute mountain of service over the years. Garrett, he is well-trained and being a paramedic and very, very informative right now of what's going on with all COVID issues regarding all his emergency transport. Edward Bond has been on the board for quite a while now himself, volunteering and trying to make time after he works 75 and 80-hour work weeks delivering propane, so Ed's definitely made a conscious effort to come. Tina is our brand new member on board who comes in with energy, enthusiasm, and thought and brings a different perspective, which is always welcome. And with that, so we now have discussion on any recommendations for vice chair.
I recommend Garrett Watt for vice chair.
Okay, that a motion was made for Garrett Watt to be vice chair. Do we have any discussion, please, by any board members?
You up to it, Garrett? You gonna accept it if you get it?
Yes, I will.
In his 4 hours of sleep he's getting between shifts.
Last night, 3.
3, and yet here you are,
I'm here.
conscious,
I hear you.
conscious.
It's been a long.
She's gonna pass out after a 12-hour ride
We
home,
just
God
drove
bless her.
From Maryland since 10 p.m. We got home at 7 a.m. and I got maybe 2 hours of sleep.
God bless you.
I gotcha.
But you had a
I feel your
great family
pain.
time.
Yes.
You had a great family time
We
with
sure
that you
did.
can't put a price on, right?
Yeah,
Which is outstanding.
absolutely.
Okay, so a motion was made by Lionel Cloutier for Garrett to be vice chair, and it was seconded by Ed Bond. No? Who seconded it? Tina? Anybody second it yet? There's been so much discussion and involving that it gets a little
He
confusing.
accepted it.
He would accept
Hasn't
it.
been seconded.
Okay, so we would now be looking for somebody to second Garrett's.
I second with discussion, I guess.
Okay.
You know, just question, I guess. Ed, you had mentioned, I guess, others, you've been here for so long and you wanted to get or others have gotten their feet wet, so I question whether or not that was a discussion to be vice chair. Okay,
Excuse me, he was vice chair.
okay,
He was once.
he was,
He was
okay.
vice chair once and clerk once.
I see,
We tried
okay.
electing him a couple times and it's.
Right.
I see.
His work,
Refused.
his work schedule,
Yeah, and I
especially
keep writing
during
them in
winter.
on that fill and, yeah, so we keep
Yeah.
filling them back in, so
Yes,
I
yeah, we're
gotcha.
not letting him get away that easy, Tina.
All
He's
right.
gonna have to work for us to dump it, right?
Right.
I may be retiring in November, so
Really?
Retirement
for you.
from what?
working.
I thought you said from the
Not
board.
from the board. I'm
From work.
not going away.
Is that a promise?
Let's see.
Okay, so there was a motion made by Lionel Cloutier for Garrett Want. And for the official record, for all those watching, who effectively seconded the motion? if it
I
has-
seconded with discussion.
With discussion. The motion was seconded by member Tina Santos with discussion. With that, is there any further discussion? I hear none. With that, we shall take a roll call vote. Member Garrett Want.
Aye.
I didn't think you'd vote no against yourself. That would have
You know,
been,
I thought about it.
that would have been, it would have been interesting, Garrett.
Right.
Paramedic says no. Okay, member Edward Bond.
Aye.
Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Member Tina Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Congratulations, Garrett.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, I'll do the best I can.
I'm sure you will. Now, up next, we need to fill a position of clerk. The board currently at this time doesn't have a clerk. Since January 1, I've been doubling as clerk as the chair. Parts of the clerk's job is obviously reading the food permits, taking some notes in case they're needed to assist with our recording secretary and whatnot. It's not a super demanding job, but it is an important job of the board. With that, we need to open up discussion on who may like to be the clerk.
I've already been clerk.
Right.
I recommend Tina.
Ooh,
I'll second that.
there's confidence right out of the gate. You want to get your feet wet? There you go.
There you go.
A motion has been made and seconded to name Tina Santos the clerk of the board, and I know under discussion, I think she would do an excellent job because she's very attentive with good attention to detail. So with that, a motion was made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, with that, we shall take a roll call vote. Member Garrett Want.
Aye.
Edward Bond.
Aye.
Member Lionel Cloutier.
Aye.
Tina.
Thank you.
And the chair votes aye. Congratulations. Thank you for jumping in with both feet.
You get to take the easy.
Now maybe they'll stop calling my house.
Yeah, right.
Telegram.
I'm gonna say, call Karen.
When they called Lionel, I thought it went like this. D, 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 D. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yes, sir, Mr. Bond.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
sir.
didn't get a chance to, this is directed at Jim Amen.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to take a look at the air quality control testing they did.
Yep, yeah, if you want to come down after the meeting, I can
Can
show
you
it
look
to
at
you. Yeah, well,
What's that?
it's pretty extensive. We probably should just sit down and go through it.
Long story short, and I know Mr. Revere is well versed in this, at Toy Town Elementary, their air exchange structurally was based on old-fashioned copper piping, and each individual teacher or operator of that classroom actually has to throw a manual valve to engage the air exchange through the old copper piping. And we also know during COVID that COVID in many tests has shown it can exist outside the human body up to 4 hours on copper surfaces, which I read from the US CDC. It's very strong in living outside a biological host for as long as it can, depending on the type of surface. Hence, all the restaurants doing as much cleaning as they are at every table. So, yeah, that's one of the things TTE is up against, is an old-fashioned copper piping exchange, where the teacher literally throws the valve.
You answered the question different from what I was, remember I asked?
You said air quality reports, right?
Yes, from the town hall, remember we?
Oh, I thought you were looking into the school, because you had asked me about the school before.
No, because how many people have passed away from cancer in the town hall.
You brought that up at the last meeting.
Yes.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That's what I would be.
Okay, because you had approached me before about the schools, and I just wanted to let you know that we found that out, so. So you have the report then, obviously, for a fellow member regarding?
Yes, yeah, we can look through it.
So that would be everything from radon to you name it, parts per million or billion?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for getting that from Member Ed Bond, because obviously any member's question is important. Thank you. With that, do we have any other new business this evening? No new business from any of the members?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
A motion has been made by Member Lionel Cloutier to adjourn. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Motion was made by the past vice president, past clerk, past retiring soon, member Ed Bond. With that, the motion was made and seconded. Roll call vote to end the meeting. Member Garrett Wine.
Aye.
Member
Aye.
Ed Bond, Lionel Cloutier,
Aye.
Tina Santos,
Um,
and the chair votes aye. The meeting ends at 6:54 PM. Thank you all for all your input.